Welcome to Boomers Rock Radio, featuring host Tom Matt. The show features a variety of topics, but most importantly, our show is about quality of life. From finances to health and wellness to personal improvement. If you have the questions, we've got the answers. Now, the host of Boomers Rock Radio, Tom Matt.
Thank you for joining us today, everyone. I'm your host, Tom Matt, and this is your Quality of Life radio talk show, the Boomers Rock Radio. So thank you so much for joining us. Remember our social media, Twitter, Boomers_Rock, Facebook is Boomers Rock, and of course my website, www.boomersrock.us. Boomers Rock is proudly sponsored by On Target Living, where your life will improve one small step at a time. My pal Chris Johnson helped me make the turn in my life, and if you go to their website at ontargetliving.com, you will find some really, really good information to help you get on target. Today's a special day for us. I'm already getting emotional thinking about what just occurred, but we just had our award ceremony over at my friend Angela Taylor's Culvers, and we're going to have a special show with Angela and Craig Culver here in just a moment. I want to do some justice to my pal Craig Culver, and if I can keep it together here. But you know how I am, everybody. It's all about emotion. It's all about feeling good about life, and that's what we do here at the Boomers Rock Show. Walking through the front door of the retirement zone is always fun, and it's always exciting, and it's never changing for me. And it's just such a blessing to have people in our lives that really help make the radio show as good as it is. And we won an award that is significant to us, and it's significant to Angela and to Craig because it really epitomizes the multi-generational lifestyle that we're trying to promote. Craig Culver was born on June 15th, 19-something in Neenah, Wisconsin. I'm not going to say that, Craig. George and Ruth Culver. He grew up in the restaurant business from 11 years old. He graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh in 1973 with a Bachelor of Science degree in biology, and he was not interested in taking over the farm kitchen, so his dad sold the restaurant. That's an interesting place to go to. You know, Craig Culver's got 550-some, I think, 43, I think, as my notes say, restaurants now. He didn't want to be in the restaurant business. It was on this site in 1984 that the first Culvers opened, where they had an A&W restaurant store. Craig ran the restaurant, remembering one of his dad's sayings, "Don't mess with quality," right? Frozen custard was the thing. On July 14th, 1987, Culver's franchising system was created to help with the franchising arm of the Culvers. I'm going to call it the phenomenon. I mean, it's just something that's just unbelievable. And currently, Culver's strategic growth plan is creating a belt of restaurants all over the country, really, up to 543 now, Craig? 544 now. Since we did our interview just a few months ago, they continue to add and move forward. I want to welcome back to the Boomers Rock Show my friends, Angela Taylor and Craig Culver. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. Welcome back.
Good to be here.
You first, girly.
Oh, no.
Okay, so we just had the award ceremony. We surprised you over there at the restaurant. You were in there. We had no plan. Craig, tried to explain this to Craig. Craig's like, "I'm just going to go get her out of the kitchen," and he just takes care of business here. It's like Craig's a take charge kind of guy. So, walk us through it. You were working. Here we are. We're back in the studio again. We're going to talk about this award ceremony we just had at your restaurant. But tell us about the emotional thing. What happened in that? I wasn't in there when the man walked in. Tell me what happened.
I was in the kitchen, and I was on the bun station, so I was making sandwiches. Earlier, I was on the grill, but
really,
yeah.
Okay.
So I'm doing my thing, like I do, and somebody says, "Turn around." Turn around, and never thought that I would see Craig's face right there. Kind of blew me away. And then I thought, great, now I have a second grill person. But no, it was a surprise, a pleasant surprise.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time to come over and do this ceremony presentation and meet the team. Was so important for me.
Well, these are the fun things I get to do.
I know.
So,
I'm glad that you were able to get here and do
thank you.
that.
It's a pleasure.
Craig, let's step back because a little pre-production talk, we're talking about the family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just spontaneous here with me. You know me now with my emotions, and it's just there's no scripted anything. But let's take it back a bit and talk about the family, the Culvers family, the family that we try to generate that love. That's why you've been successful with your restaurants. That's why Angela's successful. Larry Cooper was a very influential person who was on the first show that we did with you that helped us win the MAB award, the Michigan Association of Broadcasting Award. But let's talk about family first, how important that is to you and where it all started.
Well, it's very, very important, and yeah, that's why I'm in the restaurant business. As you kind of summarized earlier, I grew up in the restaurant business with my family, and I watched my mom and dad work so darn hard. I kind of compare it to farming, 7 days a week type of thing, especially in the dairy farm business. Being from Wisconsin, there's so many dairy farmers, and it's a 7-day-a-week job, and early in the morning, late at night. That's what I watched my parents do. When Dad first bought the little A&W in 1961, I was 11 years old then, and of course, I think it was illegal, but we were working, and it's similar to a farm family. Everybody pitches in, and so we've had a number of businesses, and through school, through college and stuff. And when I graduated from college, I thought that was it. I'm not in the business anymore. And actually, my father asked me he was having health issues, and he asked me to take over the business that we had at the time. You mentioned the Farm Kitchen Resort. He asked me to take it over and be the general manager, and I told him flat out no. And he says, well, Craig, go, find your dream. And honestly, I didn't know what my dream was. I didn't. And well, I ended up obviously stayed in the restaurant business. I've been in the restaurant business since I was 11 years old, and I'm going to turn. You could say it. I'm going to turn 65 in a week and a half, and I am so fortunate that I did stay in the business. Learning from my family. My family's taught me so many great lessons over the years. Mom and Dad were great mentors to me. But they were also great parents as well. They showed me a lot of love along the way as well. Sometimes tough love as well. But they've been my partners in the business, and as well as my immediate family. And as I tell when I'm talking to our managers and our franchise owners as well, one of the things I love about our business so much. And I love the food side of our business, don't get me wrong, but I love the people side of our business. We have the ability, each and every one of our team members, including myself, have the opportunity, the ability to put a smile on somebody's face just by being a good person, just by going out of our way a little bit, just by having a good heart, just by saying please and thank you, my pleasure, and meaning it, being genuine. And my parents, they were the example years ago, and they didn't sit down and explain that this is hospitality or, that you got to be a nice person, so to speak. They were just the example, and that's, today I mentioned you are the great, Angela, you're the great example for your team members as well, and that's what we are. We've got to be that great example for the people around us, and I believe, changing the world is about doing just that. It's about being the great example for the people around you. And as my parents were my mentors, we're mentors to many people, and we may not even know it because people watch you. Even your guests walking into your restaurant, they're watching you, and they're seeing you bend down and pick something up off of the sidewalk or whatever. And they notice those things. And
Yes,
they say they're surprised that the owner would do that? Yeah, of course we do. We're just doing what we do, and unknowingly we're also setting an example for everybody around us as well. That's what my parents did, and so.
Angela, your family is a big part of your business. You had to, when you go to training for Culvers, you have to separate and go to the Culvers training facility.
Yep.
We'll
Boot
talk
camp.
about that later. The
Culver boot camp.
Is it boot?
Oh,
is it
you
called
loved it.
boot camp? Okay, so let's talk about that now. Let's talk a little bit about your family. We didn't do a lot of this on the first show, but let's give them some justice because they support you, and it's that genuine love that they have for you to allow you, and then you give back to them that genuine love back. And so in your restaurant is a great example of all of the little things, all those little pieces you have in that restaurant that make it you and your husband and your family. Talk about your family for me, please.
Okay. I have a wonderful set of parents, and they raised me well. They raised me with morals and values and kept the family united and strong. So I can't thank them enough for everything that they've done to help develop their daughter to be an upstanding citizen, a caring person, and a humble person too. Because when I go into the restaurant every day or I meet different people, I don't think about what kind of example I'm setting or who's watching me. I'm just doing what I need to do to get the job done and to make sure that I'm taking care of my guests. And I'm taking care of not only my guests that are eating and paying for it, I'm taking care of my internal guest, and that's my team. Every team member I care about. And I got that from my mom and dad. Going to Culvers training is pretty intense.
You were very hesitant about that. Were you just like, oh my gosh, what am I getting myself into here?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was never in the restaurant business, so I had no idea. Oh, waitressing when I was a teenager or flipping pizzas.
So the training you received there at boot camp really got you that foundation.
Yes.
It made you successful.
Yes.
We call it Butterburger University, by the way. I don't think there's a shirt that says boot camp on it, is there?
But I have a mug that says
Okay.
That's okay. I'm just doing this for you, Craig.
I know.
544. Okay.
No, it is a really good program because it really does set you up for success. They train you to open a restaurant and understand every aspect of that restaurant. So you're not just going to classes to learn the financial side of it. You are put into the restaurant and you are working it. So you know how that operation works. And that is huge, especially with someone like me that didn't have that kind of experience. I was able to take that back home and utilize it opening my restaurant. And no one can prepare you for the day that you open your first restaurant, but having that background and that support behind you helps you get through opening your restaurant.
Craig, what's the value add to the to your future franchisees that are coming through your school? What the value add of going to that school? Is it totally an imperative that they?
Well, let me just say this first. It's one thing we teach functions. Going through, it's actually 17 weeks of training is what it is. As I've said, I can teach you how to work the grill or the fryers or anything in the kitchen or up front, all the different functions. But Angela, what we can't necessarily teach is we can't teach you to have enthusiasm, energy, good heart. We can't teach you necessarily to be a leader. We can't teach you to have passion. Those are things that we recognized already. Those you had. With that, we can teach you these other parts of the restaurant.
Right.
Then it's that leadership skill of yours or any one of our operators that takes over from there. And so, first of all, we've got to recognize, and we have something at Culvers called a Discovery Week. And that's, Angela remembers that. That's where you, a prospective candidate comes in and spends 1 week in our restaurants. And then I interview them, our president interviews them, chief training and chief operating officer interviews them as well. And we're looking at just those things. The heart is what we're looking at. We're looking at, is there some passion there? Is it somebody that's a people person that loves to be around people, that likes to work with people? Those are things that we recognize, and that's what we're after. And then we're going to teach you the business after that, or the skills of the restaurant.
You sound like a talent scout. You're like a talent scout. You're filtering through, and if you don't meet the talent level, if you're not major league potential, then maybe you don't cut the mustard. Is that kind of a good analogy?
That is a good analogy, because just because somebody has a check waving at us doesn't mean they're good for Culvers or we're good for them. We want it to be. It's got to be a win-win situation, and that's the way I look at everything I try to do. We try to do at Culvers, or in life as well. We try, and underline and capitalize try. We try to make them always win-win relationships. Do we always meet that challenge? No, we don't. Sometimes we do fail. And when we fail, we try and learn from the failures as well along the way. But the Discovery Week is we're looking for just those things that I just talked about. And if we see them, well, then we think we've got a candidate that'll fit the values of what we think we have, and matching up with what they have.
So if I'm hearing you right, then in the Discovery Week, if they don't have those values, they may not be able to cut the mustard.
Then we say no. And you know what? The candidates pay $5,000 to do this in the first place. Now, we will not keep their money, however, if we ended up saying no, or even if they say no. Obviously, they get that back. But we want to make sure it's something that will work for both of us. And if one party or the other says, well, that's fine. Then the Discovery Week has done its job. Either or. If they say yes and we say yes, it's also done its job as well. So it's a bit rare. I don't know of other
companies that
interview
people that way. Yeah.
We don't just take a check. That's the last thing we're going to do.
Yeah.
We want to make sure this is going to work for all parties.
Having a special show today from the WGHN studios in Grand Haven, Michigan, with Craig Culver and Angela Taylor, the owner of the Culvers franchise Inn. Gosh, I'll tell you, it's just been such an emotional day here in Grand Haven. It's just been so much fun, and to share this award and talk to Craig and Angela together, I'm really happy that we had the time to do this. We're going to set up our next break. When we come back, I want to talk more about Discovery Week, but I also want to talk about community service and the things that you do as the Culvers, and you lead the way with the community service, and how much impact you can have throughout the world as we're changing the culture and we're moving forward. You're listening to the Boomers Rock Radio Talk Show. We'll be right back.